Well, this evening we have a young man from David Hill by the name of Patrick Petty. And Patrick is going to do our Pledge of Allegiance for us. But before he comes up, I'm going to read a little bit about what they say he's doing at David Hill. It says, Patrick is a 5th grade student at David Hill CLC. His favorite subject is reading. He is a very focused student who is consistently displays his best effort. Patrick is a student of outstanding character. He is respectful to his adults and fellow students, and his manners are exemplary. He was October's Student of the Month for responsibility. Patrick is respected by his peers and leads quietly by example. In his spare time, Patrick enjoys basketball and video games. He likes spending time with his family and going out to eat with them. I'm like you, Patrick. His principal says, we are proud of Patrick and so grateful he is a member of our David Hill family. Patrick, will you come up and bring your guest with you?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, let's come over this way here. Yes, I'll just get my guest right here. Good photo. Got a smile. Thank you. All right, Mom, did you want to get this photo? I know you.
Yeah.
The little boss lady over here wants this picture taken.
Yes. Thank you. Thanks.
Okay, now Patrick, who's our special guest here?
My mom, my sister, and Miss Boo.
Okay. We want to thank Patrick for coming and doing the Pledge of Allegiance for us today. Thank you, and our special guest. All right. Thank you. Patrick was forced to have that special guest. She said she wanted to do the pledge, so we said we'll let her come on up and do that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, you guys can go ahead. I know Patrick has probably some homework.
In the future.
Thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Okay, community reflections.
I'm sure it was quite 2 weeks, and so I just have one to make up from before. I just wanted to congratulate all of our fall student athletes, and most notably the East High School Dragons on their proud showing in the districts and one win, and that's very good that we got into the district playoffs. So congratulations to them and all the rest of the student athletes.
Great, thank you. Anyone else? No one else? Okay, I do have 2 things that I want to talk about. I was able to attend Voris's PTA gathering, and it was for a scholarship for a young lady who was our teacher, or one of our past teachers, Tara Klossman. It was filled with a lot of people. I thank all the people for coming out to show their expressions of commitment and to be able to carry on some of the things that Tara did. I mean, she did a lot. She taught in dance studios. She did cheerleading. She did so much that I didn't realize. But they had a lot of individuals there, a lot of people, groups that were showing their appreciation. And there's a list of people and organizations that gave to this scholarship. So that is nice. The second thing is LBJ Foundation, which is the LeBron James Foundation. I wanted to thank them for, they gave all of us a little Christmas gift here. And I'm going to ask one of the, Lisa, Mrs. Mansfield has hers. And the foundation sent each board member a little plaque there that with a band, I Promise, and a picture of LeBron raising his hands and showing that he is the king.
It says nothing is given, everything is earned. You work for what you have.
There we go. And we need to make sure our students know that they have to work for what they earn. Okay, I don't think we have anybody to request to address the board. communications and recognition.
I
Mr.
have
James?
one. I believe it was Wednesday. I was actually at home trying to prepare Thursday's meal. And I get a phone call interrupting my hard work. I'd like Reverend Walker to help me. We have some very exciting news for Akron Public Schools this evening.
And I want to thank our superintendent. He was to do this honor, but he told me he was going to give it to me. And I am excited to make this presentation on behalf of the superintendent and the board and of our staff. And I want to ask that the following persons, if they would stand, Ms. Diane Floyd, our principal, Sandy Klein, our IB coordinator, and Karen Dietschit, they would stand. We want to thank them for their outstanding work over several years, hard work. And I just want to acknowledge their husbands because I know they were wondering and worried and concerned if these young ladies would make it through the process. Well, they've made it. And right now, I want to read just a few paragraphs of a letter that was written to the principal. On behalf of the IB, the International Baccalaureate IB program, it is my privilege to inform you that Litchfield Middle School is to become an authorized IB rural school for a 3-year middle years program, which is entitled MYP, offering MYP years 1, 2, and 3. Congratulations on your considerable accomplishment. As an IB World School, you are part of a global community of schools committed to developing knowledgeable, caring young people who will be ready to negotiate their future successfully and make contributions resulting in a more harmonious and peaceful world. We commend your school's educators, administrators, students, and families for their active roles in choosing to offer the MYP. The positive results of this choice will become evident in your community as classes of MYP students graduate and undertake activities that enhance social, cultural, and economic environments locally, nationally, and perhaps internationally. This begins a process connecting our Firestone family. We know Firestone already has the IB program, and now Litchfield puts that next puzzle. And then we hope to hear in the future some other good news that will again finish that puzzle. When I was at the OSBA meeting, one of our districts up north was proudly boasting about them having the only IB program in their district. Well, I sat quietly and listened to what they had to say, but in my heart I was holding out my chest saying, just wait. You won't be the only one. And to my surprise, at our committee meeting today, we were given the news that they're not the only one. Akron Public Schools salutes you in your fine work, your wonderful work of labor, and we look forward to continuing to move even further in this IB project as we work together. So on behalf of the board, we salute you and we support your work that you've done.
Yes.
And if you want to take a moment and introduce.
We also have, Dan and Sandy, come on up, and Karen has a few words for you too. Karen has been the lead for our IB process, so she's got a few things too.
I do. I love words. Especially when it's such a wonderful opportunity to salute two tenacious leaders and who had an idea and brought it to our superintendent who supported it wholeheartedly. Without Superintendent James' leadership, vision, and financial support, and then the support of this board, we would not be here today. So this really is a salute to our leader, Mr. James, and the tenacity of these two leaders who had an idea about an international baccalaureate program for middle years. something that we had not heard of in Akron Public Schools. That they went out, they researched it, tirelessly brought it back to Akron, to the superintendent, to the board, and it was embraced and moved forward. They also sought community partners, tenacious with tenacity from Sandy Klein in Kent State. So as a result of that tenacity, they have co-taught courses at Litchfield from Kent State 1 day a week, building that leadership pipeline for IB. So without these two spectacular ladies and the leadership of this board under the guidance of our superintendent, we would not be here today. So thank you for everything that you've done to get Akron to this point here today.
And this has been a grassroots effort. It was an effort by the staff. It wasn't something, as you mentioned, that was a top-down, but it was a bottom-up, an idea that the whole staff embraced and has moved very aggressively, assertively to make it happen. So again, thank you.
If I could, if I could introduce some of the folks who are with me. It just goes to show that we are just all around this. I have Mr. Jeff Lysick. He was a math teacher when this all began. He's currently a dean of students at Litchfield. I have Mr. Maurice Jackson, who is one of our visual arts teachers. And then I also am very proud to bring along our PTA president, Ms. Tina Lee, who has been a real wonderful supporter and just a proud person in our community that always is speaking in our behalf. And it really was, Ms. Djic, thank you so much. Dr. McWilliams and Mr. Black and the board, Mr. James, thank you so much. This is really like one of those moments where we get to, just for a day or so, sigh and, okay, we did it until we move on to the next step. So thank you so much. This is my privilege to stand in front of you today as an IB World School. So thank you.
Great. Thank you.
Come stand up there. Thank you.
I want to thank them for their hard work as well, and I know that Ms. Floyd has been hoping this is coming because I hear from her husband, Diane, hopes this is going. She's hoping, she's just praying she wants this to happen, and today he told me it happened. So congratulations to him as well as Ms. Floyd and Karen. I'm sorry, what's your last name again? Klein. Sandy Klein. I said Karen. Oh, Sandy Klein. That's your husband? Mm-hmm. Yes, Mr. Klein. Thank you both for being here, and both gentlemen for letting those ladies work as hard as they did to get to this point. We appreciate it. Okay, next on our agenda is approval of meeting minutes.
So moved. Second.
It's been moved and second. Any question? Roll call.
Mr. Alexander?
Yeah.
Mr. Bravo?
Yes.
Mrs. Mansfield?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Reverend Walker?
Yes.
Ms. Walsh?
Yes.
Okay, next is superintendent recommendation.
Mr. President, I have before me for your consideration 29 personnel recommendations. At this time, I need to pull item number 8. Other than that, these recommendations are in proper form, and I move their approval.
So moved.
Second.
So moved and second. Any question? Roll call.
Mr. Bravo?
Yes, abstaining from items 22 and 23.
Mrs. Mansfield?
Yes, abstaining from items 24 and 25.
Mr. Miller?
Yes, abstaining from 26 and 27, please.
Reverend Walker?
Yes, abstaining from items 28 and 29.
Ms. Walsh?
Yes, with no abstention.
Mr. Alexander?
Yes, abstain from items 20 and 21. Consent agenda.
Next, Mr. President, I have before me for your consideration 2 motions and 5 resolutions on the consent agenda. These recommendations are in proper form, and I move their approval. So moved.
Second.
Been moved and second. Any question? Roll call.
Mrs. Mansfield?
Yes.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Reverend Walker?
Yes.
Ms. Walsh?
Yes.
Mr. Alexander?
Yes.
Mr. Bravo?
Yes.
And finally, Mr. President, I have before me for your consideration 18 business affairs recommendations. These recommendations are in proper form, and I move their approval.
So moved.
It's been moved and seconded. Any questions?
I just want to, again, for those of us who are looking or people who notice that there are a lot of non-public school purchases that are being made on our list, and we are the pass-through agent for those schools. So you'll see Holben, you'll see several other schools, and we're the pass-through agent so they can purchase those particular items.
Any other comments, questions, concerns? Roll call. I'm sorry. Mr. Bravo?
Well, I was going to throw in, you had a question earlier for the superintendent, and although the cost isn't on there, the current rate for the gas on item number 15 is about $3.25 per million cubic feet. It's about $1 less than it was last year. And since Ms. Mansfield didn't point it out this time, like I think she has every other time, item number 13 is really depressing.
Yes, it is.
$21,000 for roadway salt.
That and the plowing. I usually point at the plowing. We don't need
I was waiting for you to say something that you didn't.
I thought maybe if I ignored it, it wouldn't happen.
Any other questions? Roll call.
Mr. Miller?
Yes.
Reverend Walker?
Yes.
Ms. Walsh?
Yes.
Mr. Alexander?
Yes.
Mr. Bravo?
Yes.
Mrs. Mansfield?
Yes.
Superintendent's report.
Two things. One, I know, I'm sure you all heard about the unfortunate incident at the Ohio State University earlier today. We actually have some students who are in Columbus. They're at the convention center. It's my understanding from the information. They were safe. They were I think the whole convention center was actually put in lockdown from the information I have. But the students are safe. We've contacted their families, and they're continuing their visit there as part of our career education program. The other one that I have is over the week, and actually on Thanksgiving, there was a fire in the boiler room at East. It looks like there's an issue with a boiler and a damper, so some insulation caught fire. The sprinkler system went off, and we've had people over there diagnosing to make sure that doesn't happen again. So if there's any other thing that we need to provide an update, we'll provide it at that time.
Any smoke or?
No, just in the immediate vicinity. I mean, as soon as the thing flamed, the sprinklers came on. So.
Was that the newer boiler?
Yeah, that's a newer system. It's not actually the boiler, but it's the damper on the flue, and it apparently overheated and caused the insulation to catch.
We don't have a contract for that, or we have to pay for repair?
That building, it's not under a warranty, but we'll take a look at it.
Okay, great. Okay, President's report, I just have two things, really. I wanted to say that Mary Adams, who is in our IT department, is retiring. Mary has been, I worked with Mary a number of years, and Mary is also Akron Public Schools graduate, and she is retiring after all these years of being here at Akron Public Schools, and she's worked for Mr. Lawson. I know it's going to be a loss for him because she's his right-hand person. But I want to congratulate her. And then for a second time, a resignation, actually, this time for Chuck Rose. Mr. Rose was in student services for a number of years and worked for Akron Public Schools, another individual who I worked with for a number of years. And he is resigning, and I hear he has a few medical issues. We hope that he will get well and be able to enjoy the rest of his retirement.
I think we should check the numbers on Mary because she's far too young.
I think so.
I think somebody needs to check into that because she's not that much older than me, so.
And me either.
Right?
But we're going to check the records.
Yep.
However, she may not be going anywhere.
Oh, I'm sure.
She's done a lot of hard work for us.
She has. She's done a real good job.
Mrs. Mansfield, she actually has been with us 32 years.
And a half.
Not that she's counting.
Not that you haven't heard that a couple times.
Okay, treasurer's report.
No report.
No report. Committee reports, we have legal.
Legal. We are presenting for the second of 3 readings prior to approval. A new bylaw 0100 revised, just in definitions of some of the terms in these other ones we're discussing. A new policy 2461, recording of district meetings involving students and/or parents. A new policy 5517.02 regarding sexual violence, and an administrative guide 5517.02 also on related to that sexual violence policy, and a revised policy 7540.01 on technology privacy, and also revised 7540.02 web content services and apps.
Okay. Thank you. Finance Committee.
We had a finance committee meeting. We talked about a number of projects, including one that Ryan's working on, looking at Energy Star ratings of our buildings. I believe in the last board meeting we approved a contract for a solar, well, help me out, Ryan, the words I'm looking for.
Thermal scanning of our
Thermal
buildings.
scanning of one of our buildings, in an effort to see where there are ways that we can be efficient and save on energy costs. So there's a plan moving forward to start looking at all of our buildings and looking at that. So it was a very, very interesting report, I think, that he provided. We talked about the city bonds, and we did get a little bit of good news that we got some clarification on the amount of the bonds that were sold for the next project, which is $27 million. It had been, I think we said 26 before, but it was clarified that it was $27 million on the bonds. But probably still important to note that we're probably still estimated to be a little short on that project. So we talked about rules and regulations, and this is something that's come up every year. So just a note that we are looking at making sure that we're not putting ourselves in an awkward spot, that we have rules and regulations that either don't mesh with or supersede our board policies. So the idea is to turn that more into, that rules and regulations into more of a handbook for board members, but eliminate it as a set of rules and regulations for the board, because there are places where they are in conflict. And we also spoke with Mr. Peppel, who you all know, who agrees with that summary that we could create ourselves some issues. So we're looking at that. We got an update on workers' compensation, and also on College Credit Plus, and we're looking at property and what to do with the property that we still have from buildings that we have that are no longer in service. Is there anything you want to add, Tim?
Just on rules and regulations, I think that's something that'll be a chore shared with legal.
Yes. Yes.
Thank you. A lot going on. Instruction.
Well, instructional policy, just to again, as you looked at business affairs, items 2 and 3, item 2 dealt with the Ford Next Generation for our college and career academy. And this Thursday, we invite you to come, I believe, from 8 to 4 p.m. To share in the ongoing dialogue as we continue to move forward in we've been cleared for 2 years of activity, and moving towards our 3rd year of activity to meet the guidelines of the Ford Next Generation as we move towards how we're going to look at academies. And of course, item 3 dealt with alignment, Nashville and corporate, again, dealing with the college and career academies, specifically at North High School, and how we're going to work those things out. So for board members who have a few moments, if you can stop by. We know there's some other activity going on in the city, a health conference, but those who can participate at some point, we would appreciate it.
Okay. Thank you, Alderman Walker. Unfinished business.
Just to remind board members, at the next board meeting, I'll have a resolution prepared for the final site selection for the Kenmore Garfield Community Learning Center.
And after our sort of plea, if you will, to the community to ask questions and submit anything, have you gotten any other questions on any other potential sites?
No.
Okay, so nobody's submitted anything. Well, for those that are listening, if there's still something yet that you want to know, if we've looked at a site, or, and I mean this to the community at large, if there's still a site you want to know if we've looked at it or why it will or will not work, or if you have a suggestion or a recommendation or a request, I think it's important that get to the superintendent as soon as possible, because it sounds like we'll be making a vote on 12th.
Yes, community members, I hope you heard that loud and clear. If you have any sites that you think that needs to be looked at, make sure you get that to our superintendent ASAP. That's very soon, so he can look at it and have it checked out if need be. Okay, do we have any new business? No new business. Well, we do have to go into executive session, and pursuant to Ohio Revised Code 121.22 G2, I hereby move that we adjourn into executive session for the purpose G3, move into executive session to adjourn to meet with legal counsel to discuss disputes involving the board and/or school district that are subject to pending or imminent court action. So I need a motion to so move. Second. So moved and second. Roll call.
Reverend Walker?
Yes.
Ms. Wall?
Yes.
Mr. Alexander?
Yes.
Mr. Bravo?
Yes.
Mrs. Mansfield?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.